Yo, Dream Team, it's your boy D Neal, back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with the big debate: American capitalism versus German socialism, salaries, taxes, and social contributions, part 3. I'm excited to finish this part, see if my guesses at the beginning were wrong. If you ever watched the first 2 parts, my guesses were that the single American takes more home than a single German, and that the family of German family is going to get to take more home than an American family. So far, it looks like Americans are taking more home, but we haven't gone through the last 16 minutes. Before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so they suggest it. What we good?
$52.
Long-term care insurance.
Now, along the same lines of unemployment insurance, Germans also pay social contributions into long-term care insurance, which compensates you for loss of income and the cost of long-term nursing care, whether due to an accident, illness, or old age. And what is really cool about this system is that it's not just to help compensate for the cost of a traditional nursing home. It can also help pay for the wages of a loved one to take care of you at home. So if you're a parent and one of your children develops a chronic illness or a long-term disability, this can also be used to help pay you as their caregiver. Yeah, it's pretty fabulous, actually. And to be honest, it makes this kind of comparison super difficult because this isn't something that generally exists in the United States. So as the American population ages, more and more are taking out private long-term care insurance that is somewhat similar to Germany's, covering many types of long-term care, including both skilled and non-skilled care, and some may even include coverage for a range of services like adult daycare, assisted living, medical equipment, and informal home care.
See, I feel like I knew absolutely nothing. I feel like I know absolutely I didn't know about long-term care insurance. I honestly did not know that was a thing, bro. Like, I'm learning so much through this video. It's crazy.
Now, finding a quote for these type of plans online is actually kind of difficult because many of the estimated costs, well, they start for people who are looking for this type of insurance at the age of 55 and older. Okay. Not exactly something that a 23-year-old is looking to invest in, per se. According to the American Association for Long-Term Care Insurance and their 2022 Data and Statistics Report, a basic yearly premium for a 55-year-old healthy single male is $950, and a single female at the same age is $1,500. Oh. Jump just 5 years, and that plan is now $1,175 for a 60-year-old male and $1,900 for a 60-year-old female. Okay. In other words, this shows about a 20% increase every 5 years. So if I work backwards, taking a 20% regression every 5 years on the premium, single worker Steve could expect a yearly premium of just under $250 and the family just under $1,000 a year to insure both partners.
Okay. Pension versus Social Security.
In Germany, the statutory pension insurance benefit, or the gesetzliche Rentenversicherung, is paid out to individuals from retirement age and provides basic payments of around 70% of your working net income. In contrast, the U.S. Social Security replacement rate is around 40%. However, that proportion can vary widely depending on how much you earned during your working years. And now this replacement rate,
that's a big diff. 70% versus 40% is a humongous difference.
Frankly, shouldn't be surprising. The fact that Germans get about 70% of their income and Americans only 40%, because Germans actually pay more into this state.
That makes sense, that makes sense actually, yeah.
State-funded pension system than their American counterparts do into Social Security. In Germany, everyone must contribute 18.6%. half by their employer and half by themselves, each bearing 9.3% of their net salary, up to a maximum contribution of 7,050 euros in the West and 6,750 euros in the Eastern German states. In contrast, in the United States, everyone must only contribute 12.4%. This is again shared half and half by the employers and the employees, meaning that each only pays 6.2% of their wages, up to the taxable maximum of $147,000 of yearly income in 2022. Now, there are a litany of retirement programs out there, from 401ks to Roth IRAs, and honestly, even how much you choose to contribute to these plans is variable. So, to be fair and transparent, I'm only going to ask that the American workers contribute to an additional 3.1% of their gross income to retirement. Because again, that 3.1% is the difference between what Germans pay into the state pension and what Americans pay as a percent of their income into Social Security. I'll calculate this as a 401k. Because this is the most common type of employer-sponsored retirement plan in the U.S., and it helps with tax deductions. So for single worker Steve, 3.1% of his gross income of $87,676 amounts to $2,707.
Oh, dang, I thought she said net income.
$19.96. However, as a 401k, this reduces his taxable income. And it ultimately means that he only has $1,891 less each year in disposable income. Now, for the family, 3.1% of their joint income amounts to just under $7,000. But again, if I structure this as a 401k, it reduces their taxable income and only ultimately means that they see a reduction of just under $5,000 each year in their disposable income.
Okay. This is the one I was looking forward to, the cost of childcare. This is the one I was looking for. This is where I felt like the family were gonna, you know what I'm saying, to start going down lower than Germany. Whereas I was like, the single American obviously doesn't, probably, more than likely doesn't have childcare to worry about. So this is the one that I was thinking was gonna hit the hardest.
Disposable income. All right, guys, so we're actually down to the final category. And for some of you, this last category might seem like a little bit of a curveball. Childcare costs aren't something that is directly listed on the social contributions. But just like higher education, it's nonetheless part of the socialized system here. Because in Germany, the holistic education and upbringing of your child is a community endeavor. So it makes sense that community funds should be used for it. This thinking has caught on somewhat in the United States. While there are already 4 states in the U.S. with free pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds, there actually was a big push last year under the Biden administration to try to pass a bill guaranteeing free pre-K nationwide. Ultimately, this push for universal pre-K did fail. It didn't make it into the bill. But it's the first time in my memory that the nation has collectively thought about even passing something remotely similar to what we have here in Germany. Nonetheless, for this...
I honestly didn't know you had to pay for pre-K. Like, I honestly didn't know
comparison, you know, our single workers don't have kids, so it doesn't really change their finances any. But for our families, the difference in paying for childcare and not having to pay for childcare makes a huge impact on your take-home pay and your disposable income every month. So, for example, should Max and Mila and their 2 children be located in Berlin, for example, Kita, which is for smaller children, and kindergarten is completely free. The only thing they would have to pay for is about $24 a month per child for food, which is practically nothing. It's pretty.
I swear to God,
in
that's
addition,
crazy.
They're collecting something called Kindergeld at 250 euros a month per child until the age of 18. Our German family receives 500 euros every month, tax-free, to help offset the costs of raising little ones. On the flip side of things, Steve and Stephanie also have 2 small children, one in daycare and the other in pre-K. For full-time, full-day daycare in Denver, the average cost is $1,575 per month. For pre-K...
That's crazy. That's crazy. My God.
Okay, the costs are slightly less, but quite honestly not much. as the average cost is $1,539 per month for, again, full-time, full-day programs. To be fair, if your two kids go to the same facility, these companies will often offer what they term a sibling discount. In Denver, the sibling discount ranged from 5 to 50%, but most commonly, the source I used, which actually analyzed the pre-K and daycare rates all the way down by the differences in zip code and neighborhood, saw that a 10% reduction was pretty much the standard rate for a second child. So we could safely presume that our American family in Denver is paying a whopping $2,956.50 per month in childcare alone. Spread that out over 12 months, and guys, you can see the dramatic effect. It reduces their disposable income by $35,478.
God dang. My Lord.
All right, guys, so if you're still here in this video and you don't yet have a headache from all of the numbers, I'm here to share with you the final results. As a single worker, at the end of all of the calculations, well, Steve is still significantly better off in terms of income. So even when
I figured that in America, being single, I figured you were going to be pretty much better off.
we adjust things here for the exchange rate, as a single worker in your early 20s in this particular profession, things were quite a bit better in the United States in terms of money. On the flip side of things, the families saw a much, much closer final outcome. So when adjusted for the currency exchange rate as of today, Max and Neal actually had just over $1,000 more dollars, if that's the currency we're using, in disposable income. So it's a pretty tight margin for sure. But technically speaking, the German family did come out ahead of the American family. But here's what's so interesting. Again, I spoke earlier in this video about exchange rates and how they can fluctuate. So if we were to go just 2 years back in time when the euro was quite a bit stronger than the American dollar, these dynamics changed dramatically. We would see an even greater difference in take-home pay, with the German family coming out even further ahead than the American family. And quite frankly, that disposable income between Steve and Max would be a heck of a lot closer. And ultimately, personally, I think what this exercise illustrates is two really important takeaway points here. First, while wages are higher and taxes are lower in the United States, at the end of the day, when you take into account all the out-of-pocket costs, the difference isn't as significant as many think it is. We actually live pretty similar lives when it comes to take-home pay. And second, I think Americans really need to think long and hard about what those statutory contributions, or what some like to term socialist taxes, actually end up buying you. And that's guaranteed peace of mind. Because while I might be able to sit here and calculate the theoretical payments to help cover the costs of things like unemployment insurance, or the loss of your job, or what happens if you or your child gets cancer and you're unable to work and you have all these medical bills, while I might be able to theoretically plan ahead for all of those costs, the reality is most Americans aren't doing that. And America sees
that's insane. Of all bankruptcies, 67% of them are tied to medical debt.
Vastly greater rates of personal bankruptcy and lower rates of average household wealth than Germany. And you know, honestly, truly, while I might agree with you that I think American healthcare is better and fancier, perhaps, than the healthcare that I might receive here in Germany, to me, this is like making the Lamborghini argument. Yes, although they may still seat 5 passengers and both are very safe with good outcomes, a Lamborghini Urus is a better and fancier car than the Volkswagen. But presuming that the average family should be able to afford a Lamborghini to meet their basic needs is utterly ludicrous.
Facts.
I think most would agree that we would rather see everyone in our community have free access to a Tiguan paid through taxes than see programs like GoFundMe attempt to crowdsource fund a Lambo. All right, guys, so, this is by far the longest and most comprehensive video I've ever put together. And if you guys have recommendations or suggestions for ways that I can make this video more accurate or update it so that, I can be more comprehensive in my analysis, I'm all ears. Please leave them down in the comment section below. Because actually, I do think it would be super interesting if we continued this thought experiment into next week and take a look at more cost of living factors. Continue to track Steve and Max through things like housing costs, cost of transportation, and costs of food. Because all of those things play a role in what our purchasing power is actually like and how much disposable income we actually have at the end of the day. I find comparisons like this totally fascinating, and I sure hope you did too. And along that line, if you enjoyed what you saw today, please hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment. If you haven't done already, hit the subscribe button because it goes a long, long way in helping to recommend our videos and, other videos like this one to a wider audience. And quite frankly, I just love reading your comments. I love hearing the feedback. So, as always, guys, thanks so much again, and I will see you next Sunday. Cheers!
I absolutely love all the work that she puts in to make these videos. I thought that was absolutely incredible. Amazing video. I was right in my guesses at the beginning. And my brain. I started thinking about, because I feel like as a single American, you just don't have to worry about a lot of those out-of-pocket costs that a family has to worry about. You just really don't have to worry about because you're just taking care of yourself. Whereas a single German, you still, even if you don't have a family or kids, you still have to put towards these things that really benefit like families and children and all that stuff. But once you get to have a family, it seems like the pendulum starts to switch. And now, you, as an American family, you have to start coming out of these out-of-pocket costs that you didn't have to as a single one. And so, and then as a German family, you really were already used to paying for a lot of these things. And now you're getting benefits from all of these things because now you have a family. And you see what your money goes towards. So, that's all we got for this one. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy Neal, out.